Hi everybody. In this part of the module, we're going to be talking about creating instructional objectives. Now, we've all been in classrooms before. Many of us have studied education, so you can probably give a basic definition of what objectives are in the classroom. And most people would say objectives are what you're going to be studying, or what you're going to be learning. And that's basically correct, but we're going to see there is actually a lot more that goes into creating very well-written objectives. Before we get into the parts of objectives, we're going to take a look at why we use them. We're going to look at that from the student perspective and also from the instructor perspective. Okay, first of all, from the student perspective, it gives them a clear look at what they will be learning and what is going to be required of them in their assessments. Okay, for example, if as a history teacher I gave my students a 3 or 4 page article on the Berlin Conference, and I said, read this, you need to know the information for the test. It's very vague. The students would probably, your average student would look over it, know what the Berlin Conference was, when it happened, try to know enough that they could answer some multiple choice questions or identification questions. Okay, but if I give them an objective that says, after reading this article, you will be required to write an essay explaining what the Berlin Conference was, who attended it, and how it had a long-term effect on Africa into the 20th century. That objective makes very, very clear the information they need to be looking for. Okay, so there aren't going to be any surprises at the end where, well, they know when it happened and who was there, but they don't know how it really affected Africa in the long term. So from their perspective, it gives them a clear thing to be shooting for. As an instructor, creating objectives at the beginning of your instructional design process means that you know exactly where you're heading. For example, as a history teacher, there are so many things that you can talk about in a history class. But if I know my objectives are A, B, and C, I can choose materials, choose content for my class, and make sure that everything is building up to completing those objectives. Also then at the end, when I need to create assessments or quizzes or tests, I know exactly what I've been teaching, I know what the students have been learning, and it makes it a lot easier to create those assessments. So that's a quick look at why we write these and why we take time to make sure they're written properly. Now in the next part of the module, we're going to start looking at what should be included in an objective. Thank you.